pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call.
Director Cussworth.
Here.
Director Buss.
Here.
Director Huffer.
Yes.
Director Nichols.
Yes.
Director Orozco.
Here.
And we have a special presentation today from the Grayson Wolpert Foundation and the Memorial Fund Scholarship.
Thank you, Chair Cussworth and members of the board. I'm actually sorry to say that unfortunately they were not able to make it today. Our honoree was actually, our young student was not able to make it, but Devin has written something up for me, if you don't mind if I read that. So Grayson Wilpert was a highly dedicated, compassionate, and adored volunteer in the therapeutic recreation programs conducted by the Conejo Recreation and Park District. Grayson had a great effect for the people served by the therapeutic recreation and dedicated much of her time volunteering. She was a very special friend to many individuals. She worked within the programs and went to great lengths to show every child respect, sensitivity, understanding, and appreciation. Grayson Wilpert passed away on October 14th, 2009, 2 months shy of her 16th birthday. The Grayson Wilpert Memorial Foundation monetarily supports the Therapeutic Recreation Peer Mentor Summer Camp, Silver Starlight Ball, Grayson Wilpert Dance, Youth Summer Camp Ride-On Scholarships, Therapeutic Recreation Youth Summer Camp, and college scholarships. Further, we are excited about the Grayson Wilpert Memorial Scholarship. Grayson's family and Conejo Recreation and Park District joined in creating an ongoing legacy for Grayson through the provisions of an academic scholarship for graduating high school seniors or current college students who, like Grayson, have been an active and dedicated volunteer in CRPD therapeutic recreation programs, demonstrating acceptance, appreciation, and value of those with developmental disabilities. This evening, on behalf of the Conejo Recreation and Park District and the Wolpert family and foundation, we would like to congratulate Ava Asleen as a recipient for this year. Unfortunately, she's unable to be here this evening. Ava graduated from Westlake High School earlier this month. Over the last 4 years, Ava volunteered over 250 hours as president of the Sparkles Cheer Club, which is an inclusive cheerleading program. She did over 50 hours with the Therapeutic Recreation Unit, 40 hours with Unified Sports through Westlake High School, and an additional 750 hours with other local nonprofits through National Charity League. Ava reflected about her volunteer experiences in the Therapeutic Recreation Unit's Kitchen Capers, where she worked alongside participants, preparing meals and building life skills. She said, "What began as a volunteer commitment quickly became something I looked forward to each week. I learned that success is defined by individual growth, not comparison. I saw how confidence develops when people are given support, independence, and a community that believes in them. Over time, I formed relationships that changed my understanding of what it means to support someone, not by doing things for them, but by consistently showing up and celebrating each step forward." Ava is looking forward to expanding her involvements in service and leadership as she starts her new chapter. We just want to say congratulations to Ava and good luck as she continues her education at UC Santa Barbara this fall. And they were really sad that she wasn't going to be able to be here, but the Wolper family wanted to meet her somewhere where she could be in the next week or so. And so they will be giving her and meeting her and stuff. So, but we didn't want to miss the opportunity to remind the board and the community what the Wolpert family does do for our students and our participants. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have a couple of cards here. Richie Brill. Yeah, go up to the mic, please. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Richie Brill. I'm with Conejo 76 Choppers soccer team. Some of you may be aware of us because we had our celebration for our 96-year-old player, our oldest player, a couple of years ago. Actually, it was last year. So the reason my colleagues are here is that we're having an issue with the permit for our field. We've been at Rock Field for the last 30 years, and if you can do the math, Conejo 76, we started in 1976, so we've been in the Conejo Valley for the last 50 years. And at the moment, we're in a somewhat tenuous position as we're not hearing back from the person who has the authority to issue the permit. So we're unaware of our situation with the permits for Rockfield going forward. So we'd like, if it be possible, to have the situation clarified. Gentlemen, anything else? This is my colleague, Peter Morg, who's also on the board.
Okay, so to go back and give just a brief history, we had a different gentleman that was holding our permit for us. Even though we've been here for 30 years, we never really got the permit directly from the Parks District, from the Recreation Parks District. And he was doing a great job. He'd pass the permit on to us. We'd have the permit on file. We'd take it to the field in case there's any questions. And then he went on vacation. And for that reason, the permit lapsed. We didn't know about it. Someone else picked up the permit. And once he picked it up, he was a little bit hard to work with because he wouldn't respond back to us. He was charging us, a little bit more than what it should be, but that was fine. We said we'll pay whatever as long as we can keep the field. That was our primary objective, is to stay in the same field we've been on for 30 years. But now we're at a point where there's no communication anymore. We don't know if the permit is renewed. When I called the front desk, they said there's no permit on file. It expired in May. So basically, we'd love to be able to control our own destiny by renewing the permit ourselves. We've been kind of invisible just because someone else has renewed the permit for us. And another concern, of course, is that if the permit gets renewed, the person that's holding the permit for us may not give it to us. He may put another team on the field. So since we've been here for so long, and myself, I've been in this community since 1994. I managed 3 banks out here. I retired from banking, but I managed 3 banks out here. And I've actually coached at 2 schools, Thousand Oaks High School and a defunct high school, Lorena. So just a long-term person in this community that we want to keep it within ourselves. And most of our players, at least 50%, live in this area. The person with a permit, he's from outside the area and he holds a lot of different field permits. So that's the request, is that if we can hold our own permit, we'd love to have that happen. Thank you.
Mac McLaughlin. Sorry, I didn't have my microphone on.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, staff. My name is Mac McLaughlin. I'm a 21-year resident of Thousand Oaks. I'm a retired Carpenters Union rep and a member of ETI. I'm here to speak on behalf of the residents that border the park and the ETI members that use and maintain the facilities at the park. And we build new and install new improvements to the park. The so-called proposed improvements, have created a very anxious atmosphere in the neighborhood, and they're a threat to the lifestyles and the property values of the people that border the park. The proposed changes will create hazardous conditions in that park by introducing elements that do not belong in the same area as horses. The board and the staff have stated that Conejo Park is the last unimproved park in the system. That's incorrect. The park has many equestrian improvements, and those are still continuing. My wife and I are the 2 people that built the dressage arena, designed and built and installed the ETI sign, and have helped to install 2 other arenas. We installed training aids that were approved by Matt Kuba when he was in charge, only to have them pushed aside by CRPD equipment drivers. Dirt piles with construction trash have been continually dumped in the park with no regard to the safety of horses or riders. Conejo Park is just that, an equestrian park. Please leave it as such. Stop using it as a dump. Stop trying to turn it into something other than what it is, our equestrian park. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you very much. Jeanette Willing?
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Jeanette Welling, and I'm here tonight to introduce critical federal and state statutory frameworks that I believe have not been raised regarding Conejo Creek West, but which place strict legal boundaries on the future of this park. Decisions of this magnitude require objectives, due diligence, not predetermined outcomes. We must look past the rush for modernization and address why this proposal to introduce pickleball to this equestrian facility must be entirely eliminated. First, we have a civil rights compliance. The Jasmine Special Needs Program is a tri-county regional center vendor serving disabled children using horses, therapy horses. Because horses are prey animals, the sharp noise from the pickleball causes severe neurological stress and creates an immediate physical hazard, creating an immediate a spook, possibly a spook, and can throw a child. Under Title II of the federal ADA and the California Unruh Civil Rights Act, creating a physical hazard that forces a disabled program to shut down or operate unsafely is a clear failure to provide equal access. True collaboration means protecting our most vulnerable users. It does not mean leveraging leases or forcing a group that's been there for 50 years out of a public facility. The second thing is an Emergency Services Act violation. Compromising this designated staging ground does more than block a road. It disrupts the unimpeded operation of our evacuation protocols by restricting the exact open space needed to safely maneuver several horse trailers during a wildfire. This board is risking millions of dollars in future federal recovery funding. Third, the public safety zoning and service dog accommodations, placing high-impact noise directly adjacent to our off-leash dog park ignores basic canine science, artificially elevating barrier, frustration, and serving as a direct catalyst for dogfights. Crucially, this also impacts disabled community members who utilize this park with federally protected service dogs, rendering a public amenity inaccessible under the ADA if intense adjacent noise disrupts the service animal's focus. We are not opposed to sharing with compatible recreational activities, but we expect a good faith public process and are hoping that the decisions regarding this public land aren't being decided without public input. Because this proposal represents an irreconcilable conflict with the federal civil rights, state emergency mandates, and basic public safety, we urge the board to protect this community and eliminate pickleball from the Conejo Creek West plan entirely. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes. And I also have a statement card from Pat Ramsell, and she supports the horse park and compatible activities. John Flynn. Mhm.
Well, thank you for letting me rush in here at the last minute. Even though I have a law background, I'm not here tonight to try and say anything else that everybody else has probably told you 10 times. I live 3 doors down from the entrance to Waverly Adult School, and that's Old Farm Road. And for 32 years now, it started off in the beginning where an elephant came down my street. And my kids got to walk up the tusk or the nose and get up and ride around. That's Waverly Heights. Every night, horses ponies, goats are walking on my street all over the whole neighborhood, all the time. I'm afraid this is going to wreck that. Please don't do it.
Thank you. Rudy Elias?
Hi, I'm Rudy Elias. This is my daughter Riley Elias. And when she was born with a very rare diagnosis, which enabled her from many things, physically, mentally, emotionally. And by 2.5, when she was being discharged from regional center, they recommended a walker for her. As you can see, she walked to the podium right now, and that's only because of hippotherapy. I was lucky enough to have someone refer me to the facility where they provide hippotherapy. And as soon as within 1 year, Riley started on the back of the horse, just laying and feeling the horse's muscles slowly because she couldn't sit up. They put her in kind of like a seat where she had support. And that just gave her enough ability to start getting her core muscles stronger and stronger. And I'm not saying she wasn't receiving physical therapy. She was receiving physical therapy plus hippotherapy. But I don't know how much physical therapy alone was doing for her, because our physical therapist was the one who eventually told us, get her to walk her. She will need that forever. That would be her forever way of walking. And with hippotherapy, within a year, she started walking. So I just wanted to beg you all, don't take that away from our children. Some of our children do not have that luck to be born healthy, and things such as hippotherapy does really make a matter in their life, because now she's able to walk around and be as normal as she can be. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have anyone online that would like to speak? No? Okay. Mr. Friedel would like to make a comment.
Oh, just as a reminder, if something's not on the agenda, we can't really discuss it. So I know the UTI folks have come down the questions and are aware of that, but for the soccer guys, we can't really respond up here to address your concerns. But Rochelle Callis right there, if you give her your name and contact info, we'll make sure you guys connect on the field issue.
You may you may go. You may
No,
go.
no, because you spoke, you got to stay to the end.
You're also welcome to stay if you would like to stay. It can go either way. Okay, can we have an approval of the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All righty. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. So if you would like to stay, we very much welcome you to stay. If you would like to have conversations outside in the hall, we would appreciate that. Moving on to item 6, consent calendar. Do we have a motion to approve items A, B, and C?
I'll move approval of consent calendar items A, B, and C.
I'll second it.
Very good. Do we have any questions on that?
I do, yes.
Okay, Director Nichols.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just an observation first on the minutes. Nothing against taking the minutes, they're great. But, and I was noticing with the continued public comments, it appears to be that they were, under item 7D. And I was wondering if maybe just put a little heading there that says for continued, item 4 continued, or something like that, where it actually kind of reflects more correctly in the public record that it's an extension of items from the public. I know it's kind of an unusual chain of events, but I thought that might help to kind of clarify what that was related to. And then secondly, regarding the warrants, I just had a question on, see, it's page 21 of our packet, page 4 of the warrants. There's a line item, Southern California Edison, with several items as operating rent Sapwe Trails, operating rent Flores Bridge, operating rent FIP right away. I just was wondering if someone could explain what those are for, what that's related to. Don't recall seeing those before.
Yeah. So we take every 5 years we do a lease agreement with Edison for those properties. So we have trail as well as at Fiore Playfields and at Sapley Trails, and those are the payments for those agreements.
Okay, so the Flores Bridge to Herbs, which bridge is that? I'm not familiar with what that's.
Yeah, and I think it's so it's because of I'm just trying to get them right, so I'm not misspeaking. But I believe that would be it would be along Flores behind the school and the condominiums. And I think that's just like a clarification thing. When we were inputting it into the accounting, there's no bridge, it's land.
That's trying to clarify.
Yep.
So it's from the overpass to Herbs Road is really what it is. Okay.
Yeah, so it's basically from 23 to Herbs.
Okay, so these are just renewals of ongoing agreements then?
Correct.
Okay, thanks. I just was trying to clarify that. That was all my comments or questions. Thank you.
Thank you. So we already have a motion and a second, so all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. So we do have a deferred matter. We're going to have a public hearing, and now we're going to be adopting the 2026, 2027 budget. So I'm going to open that meeting. And Mrs. Smith, are you available for questions? Do you have a presentation?
I have no presentation. I was just going to give you the big highlights from the changes we've had since the preliminary budget was adopted last year. So no changes since the last 3 meetings, but the big changes since we adopted it last year is largely acquiring Hillcrest. The operational expenses assumed with that, a new facilities maintenance tech position, the debt service for the loan and the lease back that we're working on, and then the initial capital improvements like the air conditioning here. And last but not least, the new position for inclusion supported by Tri-County. So those are the big changes from a year ago, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions? Okay, do we have a motion to approve? Okay, Director Nichols.
Go ahead.
Director.
See, it was quicker than I was. Go ahead.
Quicker, okay, great.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the adoption of the 2026, 2027 budgets.
Do we have a second?
I'll be happy to second that. I believe it requires.
I was going to say that was
Oh,
the resolution.
got it. Sorry. Yes. To adopt the resolution 06182-026-A.
So we have to say, actually, I forgot to have our wonderful, well, you don't do that on our public hearing adoption, do you? I'm still getting used to your job. Yeah, but this is a resolution.
Whatever you ask her to.
So, I'm trying to find it. Item 6C. Was this a resolution? It seemed
Yes.
to me that it was.
Yes, it's a resolution.
Page 38.
Okay. So you need to say that it be read in title.
That it be read in title only and all future readings be waived.
Okay. So, Madam Clerk, can you please read that for us?
Yes. Resolution number 061-826-A, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Conejo Recreation and Park District adopting the fiscal year 2026, 2027 budgets for the district.
So, all in favor of adopting this resolution? We already did that.
No,
We did that.
nope, that was
Aye.
good.
We had a motion, a second.
We had a motion in a second. Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion passes. Fabulous. Okay. Do we have any other items for discussion? I don't see anything here. I'm going to close our public hearing. And we have some new items, 9A. Youth, oh, Madam Clerk.
Yes. Item 9A, Youth Outreach Professional Services Agreement between Conejo Recreation and Park District and Conejo Valley Unified School District.
Thank you, Chair Nichols, members of the board. So as you may recall, a couple of meetings ago, you guys approved the general manager to sign an agreement with CVUSD for our youth outreach services for a 2-year contract. I am bringing back to you today, it has been informed that we need to actually do a 1-year contract due to some school district rules and regs and stuff. So they needed us to just take that back to you for a 1-year instead of a 2-year. Everything remains the same. And next year I'll be back here again for another year, hopefully with the same contract. So just asking for approval for the general manager to sign a new 1-year agreement instead.
Okay, do we have any questions? Director Huffer?
I guess it was just a little confusing under the discussion where it says this agreement is structured as a 2-year contract, and then 2 paragraphs later, you say it's a 1-year agreement. So
Yeah.
it is 1-year agreement, but I'm not quite sure why you mentioned it's structured as a 2-year
I
contract.
think we were just leaving the memo as it was with the update on the one paragraph that just says updated. So maybe that was a little confusing.
Okay.
Sorry about that. We're updating the original 2-year contract to approval for just the 1-year contract for the 100,000.
So I wasn't imagining things.
You were
that we
not.
had acted on
It's
this just to.
It's the same memo. We just added on the update
All right.
section.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Do we have any other questions? Okay, can we make a motion? Okay, Director Huffer?
I move that we adopt the staff recommendation.
And-
second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. We're going on to 9B.
Item 9B, Mountains Recreation and Conservation Authority, MRCA Final Budget Fiscal Year 2026-27.
Okay, so who would like to take this one? This be Mrs. Smith?
Absolutely. Thank you, Chair and board members. So the MRCA is a joint powers authority consisting of the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy, Rancho Senior Recreation and Park District, and us. So what that means is the budget gets to go to all 4 boards. So we are the first board that gets to see this. So just some highlights for you, since it's a very different format than what we have for CRPD's budget. And that's largely because MRCA is such a project and grant driven organization. But I'll go kind of page by page. So the first page is the very high level total budget by account class. And that's where you can see that the grants and the land acquisition projects make up more than 50% of their budget. The second page gives you the details on the revenue that's assumed. There is an increased event permit revenue expected due to a new event that's going to be happening at King Gillette Ranch. If you're curious and want to go, it's a Symphony of Flowers that's going to be happening. I think it's like December to January every year, like LED flower stuff. So should be pretty cool. But the bulk of the funds are for grants and land acquisition, and they're using a small use of the reserve funds that were set aside for capital improvements at various largely employee housing locations. So that's the revenue side. The third page is the expense side. So we do have some reductions there. You'll see the first 2 show a reduction in staff, and that's largely because since about 2020, I don't want to blame COVID totally for this, but there's been a big reduction in enterprise revenue specifically from filming. So filming used to generate between $2 and $3 million a year for the MRCA, and now you can see on the revenue page it's at under $1 million. So it's been a big cut. Hoping for a kind of bounce back post-COVID, we had used reserves and other sources to try to preserve staff that relied on that funding, and it's just not materialized. So the MRCA board authorized a retirement incentive for some staff, and also we had a 25% cut to the developed resources staff that were dependent on that revenue. So you'll see that reflected in the salaries and benefits line. The other reduction in expenses is from joining Capri, so a good side. We do expect the insurance premiums to go down. A lot of the premium expenses that the MRCA was paying was because there was a challenge in getting one provider to do a full property. So for example, KGR, since we just talked about it, to get to the full amount, they might have 5 different layers of, so they'd have 5 policies and all of that. So we're expecting some savings by going to Capri. So thank you, Capri. And it was a lot of effort, and joining CARPD2 is going to be a great addition. So that, and then what else did I want to point out on the expenses? So you can see again, the majority of the budget is still for grants like the pass-throughs. So I think it's about $10 million that we have as grants. A lot of that is for the wildlife corridor that's expected to be completed in December. And then a lot of land acquisitions and capital grants. And then finally, the last section of the budget is the 190 project-specific tasks and codes that all their staff get to code their time and expenses to through the year. So I'm happy to answer any questions that I can. Any detailed questions I might need to cut back to you on.
So do we have any questions?
I do.
Of course you do. Director Nichols.
Got to keep up my reputation here. This is a challenge quiz for Ms. Smith here.
Ooh.
No, I'm sure you have all the answers. This is on your revenue page.
Okay.
Could you describe what the line item is referring to, community facilities districts?
Oh, sure. So MRC actually has 9 community facilities districts, so different regions. Most of these are along Mulholland, but different property owners voted to give property tax specifically for most of it's fire related. So they'll provide brush clearance expenses and ranger patrol and fire patrol, especially during red flag. And so they get revenue for that, and we provide those services.
Is that similar to a community services district?
So my understanding is the community services district is more like a special district, whereas this is actually a tax allocation mechanism.
Okay.
So it's a way to assess those properties that are like our assessment districts here, like
Okay.
Dos Santos or Rancho or district-wide. It's similar to that. But these, I think they last 10 years and then they sunset.
Okay, all right, thank you. And then on page 124, this is your project, or I forget how you for these, number 96, Hess Kramer Fire Rebuild. Is that a grant to Camp Hess Kramer?
Yes.
Oh, very nice. Okay.
So that, and actually, you'll see right below it, Shalom Institute, Camp Prem, and I think there's another camp in there.
Camp
So
Prem?
the state Natural Resources Agency recognized a lot of the camps were destroyed by a wildfire and allocated a lot of general fund dollars for those camp rebuilds and asked MRCA to serve as the project manager. So they're actually pass-through amounts to those grantees, and MRCA is just making sure they're checking all the boxes before we release the
Gotcha.
cash.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's, I kind of presumed that, but I wanted to verify that because I knew you knew these things in and out.
Yes.
So thank you very
Most
much.
of them. Some of
Yes,
them.
thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Do we have any other questions? Well, I have a comment. When I was first looking at our budget, and at the very end, it was showing all of our parks and everything, and all of our buildings, and there was 80. And I thought, wow, we're really in charge of a lot of things here. And then when I got to this one, I was quite overwhelmed. I thought, well, I guess MRCA has even a more full plate than we do in all of the projects and all of the areas that they're keeping track of.
They've
But
grown
it's
a
all
bit,
good.
yeah.
I was thrilled that we had as much as we did, and MRCA is kind of on the same board that we are in wanting to keep open space and all of these different things going. So really good stuff. All righty then. So I guess we need to make a recommendation. Because we already read, correct? All right. So who would like to make a recommendation to approve this? Okay.
Just trying to
Director-
keep things
You know,
moving.
guys, just call out because or else I'm going like this. I feel like I'm at a tennis match. So go ahead.
Yeah, I move that we approve staff's recommendation to approve the MRCA final budget for 26-27.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Moving on. So we're now at number C, 9C, the CSDA board elections. And would you like to read that for us? Is there something to read?
California Special Districts Association, CSDA 2026 board elections.
Okay. So, does anybody want to comment on this?
I'll say a few things.
Okay.
I just wanted to verify, it says in your discussion, it says the 2 candidates. I presume that should be 4 candidates. Okay. Just want to make sure I can count, but I didn't want to miss anything. I just wanted to say a couple things about Vincent Ferrante and Jacqueline McMillan. The other 2 I do not know. I've actually had the chance to speak with Vincent Ferrante several years ago at one of the CSDA conferences up in Monterey, and come to find he has quite the lineage of family legacy along the coast. If you've ever been to the wharf there at the end of the wharf, kind of if you turn right and go over to where the commercial boats are, there's a little bronze statue there and it lists some names, and the Ferrante name is part of that statue there as some of the original sardine fishermen. So he has quite the history, and when I was speaking with him, they owned quite a bit of the land, including the land that the convention center is now built on. They sold that to that project. But yeah, he's got quite a history, and you can see he's been involved with the Moss Landing Harbor for over 24 years. So he's got quite the legacy and is a kind of a known commodity within the Central Coast area. So it would not go wrong with that vote for him. Would also just like to put in a word for Jacqueline McMillan. She has quite the resume as well with her work with the Cayugas Municipal Water District and the Water District, the MWD, we're here in Southern California. I think from an advantage as to like why we might want to consider her over Vincent. Again, Vincent has a great resume, but I can see where Jacqueline, or Jackie as she goes by, has a little more local perspective for us. She's a resident of the Conejo Recreation Park District, has lived in Thousand Oaks, I think, for 18 years. So she would certainly be familiar with our local issues. And so I just want to say, for my recommendation, I would recommend Jacqueline McMillan as being our candidate. Again, nothing against Vincent. He's a great candidate and would do well. But I think from kind of like almost selfishly speaking for Southern California, that Jackie might be a good vote for us.
Okay. Thank you. Does anyone else on the board have a comment? Yes, Director Huffer.
Well, I'm just would like to ask the current president of the local chapter if you know any of these 4 individuals and have any comments or recommendations based on your experience with any of them.
Yes, I was planning to say something after everyone else had a chance. So yes, I will say something. And, but there's 2 people that are online. Do Michael Miller and Diana Merville have something to say on this topic specifically? I have a note that they're online. Do they want to comment on this topic? If not, we'll have to wait until the end of the meeting.
Diana is with ETI.
Oh, okay, she's with, okay. So they'll have to wait till the end of the meeting. So with these 2, now, I have not met Misha. I do know the head of the Santa Paula Library District. He has been just joined and has come to the last couple of our VCSDA meetings. Very good person. I'm not exactly sure. I've never talked to Misha. It looks like she's a new board member. I was very excited that it seems that they are interested in being part of CSDA. I was very impressed that we have the 3 people that are challenging Vincent, all from our local district. So it made me feel like, well, did we ignite some interest? So I do know the head of the board there. Also, Jacqueline, Jacqueline comes to almost all of our meetings, doesn't she, Raquel? I haven't talked to Jacqueline personally for a long time, but she seems extremely knowledgeable and would be an excellent candidate to represent our district. So I would say, yes, I would highly want to go with her, other than thinking maybe she should be the next president of VCSDA. But that would be my only hesitation on that one. Scott, I've had a long conversation with. In fact, I went down to his water district. He took me on a tour. We talked for a long time. He's very enthusiastic, very much was anxious to be a part of VCSDA, very much wanting to be included in being, somewhat of a leader, talking to other general managers. So he's, I would say that he's an excellent candidate. He doesn't have as much experience as Jackie does. He's only been here for about 18 months, as he said. When I talked to him, he was fairly new and was very anxious to talk to the other general managers, but a really motivated, good candidate. If I was going to pick one of them, I would probably go with Jacqueline, just because she has a little bit more experience in our area. But that's not to say that Scott would not have been an excellent choice also. So that's my opinion.
Good, thank you. I appreciate that, because I don't know any of these four individuals, just based on the resumes. Mr. Ferrante does have a very impressive resume, but it sounds like he's been around forever, and maybe occasionally a little bit of fresh blood wouldn't be a bad thing. Jacqueline was, if I was ranking the four resumes, she'd probably be number two. Based on what both of you have said, I would certainly be more than happy to support selection of Jacqueline as our nominee.
Based on that, is there any other comments from Director Orozco or Director Bus? So would we like to have somebody make a motion?
Sure, I'll be happy to make a motion to put forward Jacqueline McMillan of the Cayugas Municipal Water District is on our ballot for the next CSDA Board of Directors representative.
Do we have a second? Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, so we're going to move on to our reports and announcements. Does anybody have any questions or anything that they would like to say? No? Director Huffer?
Yeah, I may have already asked this, Melissa, but I'm just curious how in the Dos Vientos Assessment District, we managed to go from $1,000 of interest to $28,000 of interest.
Because I budget conservatively and I don't try to time the market. That's all.
Okay, just curious, sort of a 58% increase is notable, at least. So thank you.
Do we have any other comments? All right. We'll move on to our department reports. Director Mooning.
Thank you, Chair Cusworth, members of the board. No report tonight, but I'm available for questions.
That's unusual. Okay. Director Callis. Oh, you have a question for him.
Yeah, I have not been up to Borchard in a while. I'm just curious as to where things stand on the skate park.
Yeah, so construction's going really well. They've been there for about 3 months now, as of this week. We have a lot of our infrastructure in. We have shade structure footings. We have electrical conduit. We're starting perimeter walls and fence posts, you can see, that's installed. And then a couple of the bigger ticket items like Musco lights are coming in the next couple of weeks. So we'll be getting those installed through the month of July. And then we're still waiting on final shade structure and some other elements that are on order, but it's going really well. So We were they're kind of holding the line from a schedule because that might be your next question. When are we going to finish? But we're still looking early 27, if not late 26 is the goal. But hopefully they'll pick up a little bit of time here and there over summer. So, but we're happy with the progress, definitely, and they've been really good to work with. So
Good. Thank you. Said I haven't been up there a while, so I was just curious to what's going on.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other questions for Mr. Mooney? No, okay, moving on. Director Callis.
All right, thank you, Chair Pressworth, members of the board. So I just have a couple of things. Just wanted to let you guys know that our agreement with VC AAA has been extended for an additional year, just with all the changes that were going on. I thought that was really exciting that we are set for at least a year. So, and then I was asked to give a little update on 4th of July. So, as we talked quite a while ago, there's some extra things that are going on. So, at the pancake breakfast, we have a DJ, a karaoke event, and Westlake Music Academy is going to be there. So there's a little bit extra dollars spent there. We have our normal home run derby, senior home run derby, and recreational free swim happening at two pools, CLU Community Pool and Newbury Park Pool. There may be some extra like decorations and like just pick it up a little bit on those. They've got a little bit of funds for that. Then the concert, we splurged. It was $20,000 to have the New West Symphony be there, but it is going to be big and fantastic. And I did give you a very sneak peek, just hot off the press. They are actually doing songs that we are going to sing along with. So that is going to be being passed out to everyone. So that should be really fun. And they're excited to be able to show off and get people excited about what they do also. Fireworks show, we increased that budget by about $5,000 and should have a more powerful ending. So I don't know that it's necessarily longer, but there should be more wow and pizzazz, hopefully. Then we threw on an extra event this year that we've never done before. It's specifically for the 250th anniversary. So starting at 1:00 at the Conejo Community Center, they're going to have some kind of old school picnic type things going on. So they're going to do a diaper derby, baby race. They're going to do a youth home run derby, which they are currently taking up signups for. So our youth can do a home run derby instead of just our seniors and our adults. They're going to do a potato sack race, three-legged race, water balloon toss, tug of war, hula hoop contest. There's probably going to be maybe some free ice cream passed out. And the New West Symphony is bringing what they call their petting zoo. And I was like, what the heck? It's where you get to see and test instruments. And that is a normal thing that music folks do. They have a van and it's called their petting zoo. So they're going to participate in that way. Then up here on the hill where you can buy tickets for $100, which helps us offset the costs of the fireworks show, we are upping our party on the hill. So there's going to be a hot dog guy up there. And if you are up there, I think we're getting like 2 tickets per car for a hot dog, and then you can buy the rest. There's going to be some bounce houses or some activities for kids and adults, I hear. And then I hear there's possibly going to be some ice cream given out, and there's going to be a DJ to kind of party it up a couple hours before the fireworks actually go off. And then obviously Kay Hay will be doing the music in collaboration. And I have staff who've heard the sound play and they say it's pretty good. I don't think Miley Cyrus is on it this year, but we'll see. And I think that's it for 4th of July. And then you guys got the color run. I know you guys always like to attend. This is awesome. So put that on your calendars if you can. And then I threw on your desk a little update. We had 2 really cool field trips happen this week, and I just wanted to share it with you. So this year, Therapeutics is taking kids on field trips for summer camp. And so, oh my gosh, the fun that they're having. They were out again today. So, and then Safe Passage had their field trip at Moore Park College. So just a little bit of updates on that. With that, I'm available for questions.
Fabulous. Do we have any questions? We're such a
I
fun
have one
place to
question.
be. Yes, Director Nichols.
Is there also a competition to see how many people can do all those activities in one day? That is
We
fantastic.
are so lucky to have so many staff that are going to make our 4th of July
Yes.
fun and then hopefully enjoy their own 4th of July. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun.
That's great. Thank
And
you.
I'll see y'all at all of them.
Yeah. Thank you for the update. Appreciate it. And also the explanation of all those things. I'm really looking forward to the concert. I just have memories of years past of the orchestra on Independence Day with all those patriotic songs that just would bring everybody out and singing along with the chorale. It was great, and it'd be nice if we could kind of get that up and going again. So thank you for doing that.
Yes, thank you. Any other comments? Yes, Director Huffer.
Yeah, just sort of picturing what you were talking about there, Doug, and somebody getting to all the activities, sort of like you go to a exhibitors hall at a conference and you have a little card that you stamp everything and
Yes.
you get eligible for a prize or something if you have everything stamped. So
Like a Parker bunny?
yeah, exactly.
Okay. Just saying.
But that is an amazing lineup of activities you have going on for the 4th, and I am really looking forward to the symphony. Sort of brings back memories of who was the
Elmer
Yeah,
Ramsey.
Elmer, and this will probably be at least a step or two up from the Conejo Symphony. So really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I hear it's going to be quite a few people on stage. So we've got some extenders and there's a little extra money that we have to do with the sound people because the sound is different with so many people on stage and stuff like that. So it's quite the thing that Tim is organizing and figuring out on top of the extra party before it. So and bring your picnics. We do have hot dogs available that day and we do have ice cream for sale that day, but we were not able to get an actual food truck for 4th of July. So, so bring your snacks and.
Well, it's a popular picnic day, so hopefully everybody will come prepared.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they end with a Sousa March so that like we used to do years ago with the old concerts where the people would march around the very end of the concert with their flags and weaving in and out of the crowds. And so
I cannot guarantee that, but I'll try to put a little something in someone's ear.
Maybe someone's going to offer to start that march.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be excellent. And I could add to that, the Stagecoach Inn is going to have the Kentucky Stompers that are going to be doing line dancing, and they've got a full lineup, and I believe they have free ice cream. So everybody should be able to get free ice cream on the 4th of July with all of those offerings. Okay, so yes, Mrs. Smith, do you have anything else you'd like to say?
Sure. So wrapping up budgets, thank you very much. But we're working to close our Hillcrest acquisition. So today we had all the MRCA signatures, and thanks to Raquel for organizing our signatures and being our notary on that. And then next week, Jim gets to go sign the rest of the documents, and Jesse's and I are working on getting the reserve funds out, but it's all looking good and we're getting the paperwork all done. So that's my update, and I'm available for questions.
Do we have any questions? All right, General Manager Friedel.
Thank you. And this was a great meeting because it reminds me of how great the staff is. The budget process starts in January, and internally we're, listening to the staff in the field, most in touch with the folks, the people using the parks day in and day out, and those ideas for projects and things we need to do start there, and then they percolate through the system, and months go by with numbers being added up and projects being considered and whatnot. And ultimately, you get the final product, but it's really Melissa and her team that put together this document, and they're doing it right now. And this year in particular with the MRCA budget at the same time, with going out and trying to get MRCA's insurance rebid, which was no simple task. Just a lot of stuff was on their plate in the last probably 6 to 8 weeks. So thank you to Melissa and her finance team, especially because it seems simple right at the end, but it's because she's been clearly communicating and sharing all along the way. So thank you for that. What I did want to mention is tomorrow is Juneteenth, and it's a federal holiday. It's a floating holiday for us, but we will be working, and so we'll be around doing our thing. We also have the pop-up concerts the rest of this month in conjunction with the city. I think tomorrow is Triunfo Community Park, and is it Stagecoach on Saturday? Touch a Truck. I don't know if you mentioned Touch a Truck is Saturday because it's Father's Day weekend. So happy Father's Day to the fathers here. On the 23rd, the city will be having their downtown master plan. I know that's generated a lot of interest. On July 2nd, we don't have any pressing need for business. So our recommendation as staff would be to cancel the July 2nd meeting and adjourn to the July 16th meeting. And at that meeting, we actually have it scheduled to have a tour of 401 for the board and anybody here at the community that wants to be there, along with the conceptual ideas for maybe what might happen next door. And we'll kind of walk through it and talk about it as a discussion item and kind of share ideas and get responses and ideas back from the board and kind of start getting us in a direction on what happens next door with that building and what we might expect that would look like. So that's a project that we started working on now. But I'm really excited by the 30th. If everything continues to go well, we should be the owners of Fireworks Hill, 61 acres and 55,000 square feet of 2 buildings and all the challenges and opportunities that come with that. So we're excited.
Thank you very much.
Question for the general.
Please, a question.
Thanks for the report, General Manager Friedel. I did have a follow-up question, and this is going back to your comment about the tour of 401, which reminded me when you took me on a brief tour. I think we did it in 5 minutes or less of that. Once we acquire the property and on July 1st, if possible, could we start flying an American flag over at 401? I think we have flags at all of our community centers, but we don't fly one here. And I think it would be appropriate to change that and start flying one here on a daily basis.
Yeah, and it's just a schedule we got to work with our staff to do that. So yeah, that is definitely something we could put on the agenda. 401 is not our property, but it's got the flagpole for here.
Right,
so right. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions? Okay, very good. Let's start with Director Orozco.
Great. I had a very busy June 6th. I attended the Trail Festival hosted by Ride On, where I got to see Chuck and his fellow Kiwanians flipping burgers and providing food for all of those who were in attendance. It was really wonderful to see all of the different shifts of our riders being taken out into our beautiful open spaces and our trails. And then after that, I attended the Safe Passage Street Fair, where I popped in to see our Borchard staff there. There were so many things going on for everybody in the community, whether it was getting some free food provided by some sponsors or a rock wall, a rock climbing wall, which was like so fantastic to see. Everybody looked like they were having a good time. The dunk tank was not operating when I was there, but I'm sure that was great too. And then after that, I went to the Chinese Cultural Association's annual event at CLU, where they just had some really wonderful cultural displays and some performances. There was a dancing dragon, there were martial arts, public speakers. So that was a very busy day, a day that reminded me of, why Conejo Valley is so special. So and then I did nothing else the rest of the week. So that's it.
Director Nichols.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On June the 17th, we had a California Association of Recreation and Park Districts Board of Directors meeting. It was a follow-up to the annual conference, just a kind of a profit and loss review, and then also setting our new committees and setting up a schedule for our meetings for the coming year. And so that was a good and productive meeting. And I didn't have any other meetings with that group. However, I would say with the number of legislative committee email messages I've been receiving over the last 2 weeks, because this is like the peak period for legislation and committees and things. It's been kind of overwhelming to try and track all these. There's been several bills that we're following very closely, working with the author's office, trying to meet with Senator Stern at his request on an item there as well. So it's been, it's always productive, but it can be a little time consuming to follow up with all these. But in the end, we do get some very good results, and always try to think of how that's going to impact our district and our community, and try and keep that in the forefront and see how we can move those forward. And just thank you especially to our General Manager, Jim Friedel, and our Director of Management Services, Melissa Smith, who graciously jump in on those legislative committee meetings. And then when I get a question that I think maybe they could best answer, I forward it to them, and they're always good about responding. So thank you for that. And then also I was reminded we've got a couple of our equestrian folks here that I was able to meet with a few weeks ago, which just reminded me of something else I wanted to bring up. When I was meeting with them, we were talking about the use of the facility, and I mentioned about the concrete slabs out there being used for drying apricots, and I don't think any of them were aware of that. And so I thought, well, let me make sure I have this right. So I called Jim Gilmore this week, who I had learned that from 35 years ago. And I said, Jim, I need some verification. How did you know that these were from apricots? He says, well, I had heard, because he's been in the community for 40, 50 years. I don't know, a long time. He was if you don't know, he was the senior planner that Andrew's position used to be way back in the day. And he was the one that actually helped to develop the Conejo Creek North Park. So he, laid all that out. So he was intimately aware of all the facilities. And in fact, he was talking to Tex Ward about purchasing the whole Conejo Creek Park complex. And so he was the one that kind of came up with the idea, let's call it a district-wide park, because they didn't have anything like that back then. So he has like some of that history. So when I asked him about that, I said, how do we know? He says, well, he said, I had heard from the locals that there was apricots here. He says, and I know since when I grew up in Madera, when we were doing peaches, that we would dry peaches out on concrete slabs just like this. He says, so I was kind of putting two and two together, and it was kind of confirmed. He says there was some old residue from the old wooden structures that used to be on site, which have long since passed. And he says, when we were developing Conejo Creek North behind the library, he says, there were a couple of apricot trees when we developed that. And then they, as the park was developed, those were removed. So he confirmed what I had thought, was that, that whole area, however many acres, used to be apricots. How many years ago? I don't know, 60, 70 years ago. So just part of the legacy of that site. And so that's, I just wanted to kind of bring that to everyone's attention, because a lot of times this oral history just kind of gets lost. And since there's nothing written about that, so now being our local historian, I'm going to charge our chairman here to be on the lookout for something with the Stagecoach about apricot history in the Conejo Valley. So it's all yours from here on out. So yeah, I just wanted to share that information. Thank you.
So before I direct this to Marissa Buss, the Jans family had large apricot farms, and they owned that land. There were quite a few apricots all over Ventura County, but then there was a drought that came here that often does, and then apricot production went more to Northern California, where they had a little bit more stability with the water, because apricots are sort of high intensity with water. So a lot of the apricots went down, and the Jans family started doing a lot more with renting cattle out for movies and things of that sort. But yes, and there is one apricot that's specifically known as the Moore Park apricot, because there were so many apricots there. But for our little area in Ventura County, Thousand Oaks, we were probably the least portion of the valley that had orchards. you know, because we didn't have the citrus and everything else that they had, but we did have apricots and we did have walnuts. Those were the two things. So very interesting. Yes, it was a big thing for a while. And I can't remember exactly when. I think it was 1930s.
That would be about right, yeah.
Okay, Director Bus.
Okay, so in my household, we have officially ended elementary school, which I have to say is kind of sad that I have no more children in elementary school. So I had graduation of my little one, then we had graduation. We survived middle school with one, we enter with another one. So, but I have to say, like, our schools are so amazing. I went through all of them. I am so excited though that my daughter has decided to go to Thousand Oaks High School because I bleed green, graduated, Lancer pride all the way. And they have started their flag football and they are so sore. And I'm like, I knew it. They're like, we're gonna be fine. I'm like, you're gonna die. Okay. So yeah, so it's been a busy past couple of weeks. And then I went to Conejo see me Moore Park Realtor Association had a mayor's roundtable, which I realized I've never been to in all the years I've been a part of this association. And it's all 5 mayors, which is really cool. So it's Agora, Westlake, Simi Valley, Thousand Oaks, and Moore Park. So it was really interesting listening to them and the different things that they have going on. Agora was saying that we are going to have the wildlife corridor open ribbon cutting on December 2nd.
Yes.
That's pretty exciting. I was like, wow, we have a date. So I thought that was really cool. Also, I thought it was cool that the city of Agora anyone can come and they will give you the proper mesh for all of your attic vents on your house so that you know, if there's a fire that you don't get the ember blowing into your attic. So I thought that was a really cool program they were doing. So my daughter competed in a Los Angeles Equestrian Center horse show, and the horse scheduler decided to have her event was 9 a.m. and 3:30. So in between, I went to a birthday party at Conejo Community Park, still one of my most favorite parks, and it was beautiful and lovely. This Saturday, I will be at the Gymkhana. It is at the park, Equestrian Park. Super excited to see my other little rider. We'll see how she does. So that's all I have for you.
Thank you. Director Huffer.
Interesting about the apricots. I knew that Moore Park was big on apricots because they had the apricot jam and an apricot jam festival and all kinds of stuff. No idea that we had apricots here. So learn something new every day. And my daughter would have so loved to have been able to play flag football a generation ago. I told her about that. I said, oh, man.
And lacrosse and field hockey, like all of the things like you could have, like I would have played all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited to watch them. And if it's on Thursday, sorry. Guys.
Yeah. Anyway, June 6th, there were a lot of things going on. I could only get to 2 of them. I was at the Ride-On event cooking the Qantas gourmet hamburgers and hot dogs and serving the riders and their families and the volunteers. It is a neat event. It was really a perfect day for it. It was nice and cool, mostly overcast, so it wasn't too hot for the riders out there. And to see them going out along the hills and then coming back, and the next group goes out along the hills and comes back. It's a neat event, and they moved it there, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. They used to have it at Paramount Ranch before everything burned down there. So, but it's a great event. And then after that, I popped over to Stagecoach Inn and spent a little time at the Pioneer Jamboree, which was a nice event. I did not get over to the Street Fair Safe Passage that day, but the following Saturday, I was over the same location, Safe Passage. I hadn't done it in a while, but their food distribution. And it's always amazing how much food Tim's able to get people to donate and to see all the volunteers out there. It had been a while, but fortunately they've got, oh gosh, probably 30 or 40 young people, either middle school or high school age kids, who are doing all the schlepping of the food out to the houses so us old folks can just stand under the shade and hand out the food. But yeah, it's pretty amazing what Safe Passage does on a monthly basis for the food distribution. And then Saturday, I will be at Touch a Truck with Kiwanis again. And it's always a very easy event to find volunteers for because we just get to play games with the kids for a few hours. So looking forward to that. That's it.
I'm sorry. Were you done? You're done?
The alarm went off.
Oh, okay. So, ready. So I was also at the Pioneer Jamboree, so we must have missed each other. They had over 500 people there. So it's been very nice this year at the Stagecoach Inn. They've been trying to be doing an activity every month, something big. This was the biggest that they've had on a Saturday afternoon. And I think that the community is kind of getting the idea because a lot of people are coming out and it's like, for a nominal fee, it's a whole afternoon of fun for your kids, mainly geared to, kids under 10. But we've had different sort of activities going on. So it's a lot of work for the volunteers. So I don't know if they're up for it next year, but it's a wonderful program. So I wanted to say I had a lot of friends comment to me about the article in the Acorn about Fireworks Hill. So it was on the front page and that we bought it. And all of them were very excited, everybody that I talked to, saying, oh, that's wonderful. We'll have the open space. They were asking about the building, what's going to go on there, asking if we were going to still have fireworks. I said, yes, we will. So anyway, that was some nice publicity that we had. So that was fabulous. And okay, I think that's all. Oh, no, my main thing was I got to talk with Mikey Taylor, my board buddy, who I had never really talked with him before. So I think this is one of the excellent programs that we do. I want to thank you for doing this because it's given me a chance to get to know all of our board members and our board of trustee members from the school and the city. And then when I go to events, we know each other. So yes, I didn't think Mikey Taylor and I would have anything in common, but we actually did. I mean, I don't skateboard, but he was really,
A lot of kids.
yeah. We had a lot of kids, so we talked about that. But yes, it was very enjoyable for me to meet with him. And so I think that's one of the best things that we've done to kind of, gel our community is to have our electeds all get to know each other. So that was fabulous. And then, I wanted to just say that I came early so I could enjoy the art show. And that was another thing that made me very happy that we bought this building because we saved this gallery. And of course, my husband and I know a lot of artists that are in the community, and we knew a lot of these artists, and they all talk about the Hillcrest Gallery, the Hillcrest Gallery, because we only really have two. And so I'm glad that we have this one too. It's a big deal for a lot of people. So, and I thought they had great art. So on your way out, if you want to, walk down and see some of the art, the two best paintings are my husband's, but but anyway, it's a very nice variety of art, and everybody is probably a local artist. And I think it's very important that we are giving local artists a chance to exhibit their art. I mean, that shows culture to me. So. With that, do we have a request for status of reports or any items for subsequent agendas? All right, then. I believe we still have some items from the public. So how about Allison? Is Allison here?
Hi, I'm Allison Rolke. I'm a ETI Corral board member, and I'm also live in the community since 2005. So I've spoken to you before. So rather than share the same thoughts on the Conejo Creek West concept plan, I actually wanted to invite all of you to come really see us in action. So I'm looking forward in a future board meeting to be able to present more about what we do at ETI. but also, come out and see it for yourselves. So I appreciate that Director Buss is coming to the Gymkhana. It was fun to watch her other child at a prior Gymkhana compete. But I just want to remind all of you of all the really cool things we do. So last Sunday we hosted a ranch show, and if you would have been there, the parking lot was full. I actually walked around, took a video for myself, was checking it out. There were horse trailers, there were horses tied to the trailers, the arenas were busy all day. I got there at 6 a.m. and I didn't leave until 6 p.m. So it's like start from early to end to put on these horse shows for all of these young kids, all the way to adults. This Saturday, so there's already a little talk about it. We're hosting a gymkhana and a community open house, and we welcome everybody to come and see what we're doing. The following weekend, we actually have a dressage and working equitation show, which is a lot of fun. It's classical, which is English dressage, Western dressage, and then we have a sport called working equitation that's actually 3 phases. So it's obstacles, speed, and a dressage test. And so it's very interesting and different than what you might typically see. These events are a great chance for all of you to actually see what happens. I would really appreciate it if you would, when you can find time. I do understand Touch a Truck though. That's when my kids were little, was my absolute favorite event. So I understand if you can't make it for that. I do miss it, and they're teenagers. They won't go anymore with me. So as you continue discussing the future of Conejo Creek West, I just hope that as you're making these decisions, that you first take time to really see it for yourself. And then also, I had noticed that you guys have done tours before where you go off and see other sites like Ride On and whatnot. So maybe there could even be a tour at some point in the future where you come and see us and talk to us, and we can show you what we do. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Sylvie.
Hi, I'm Sylvie Deer. I moved here in 2018. I'm actually on Calle Tulipan, so I'm not right by the park, but I bought my horses right at the park. And so it's just a minute away from I'm just a minute away from my horse. My horses, before I moved here, I was in Agura and I would trailer my horses here because it's a great park to have young horses and green horses to show them a new show that is, if you have to go to actually pay for a horse show and just totally make a total mess out of you because they don't know anything. It's a good way to bring your horses in, and then you can trailer them in, put them in a trailer, try the arenas. So it's a really good way to use the park, and I know other people do it too. Also, I know that we were shocked to get all these new projects in here. When I moved here, I loved the park. I came here because of the park. I read every day. And just once we put concrete in a park like that, there's no more dirt. That's it. It's over. Everything is over. I think this whole thing has caused anxiety and also tension in the neighborhood and other neighborhoods because we were not expecting that. And now we spend our time writing letters and coming to meetings and talking about it and worried about it. And we don't need that in this world right now. There's plenty of other tensions. We come to ride and just enjoy the area. I'm also a runner, so I use the property as a running facility as well. I feel like it feels to me, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, that we are trying very hard to explain every single time. We don't want it. It doesn't work. There are plenty other places to have pickleball, and you know that. I know you know that. Doesn't take having big brain to know about that. And we have suggested other places, and it seems that nobody cares about it. So I don't know if it's you guys or if it's above you. Something is above, something is somewhere. And I feel we like trying to do an uphill battle to go anywhere. And it's very, very sad because the horses are going to be around, the dogs are going to be around. People go in this dog park all the time. Pickleball is going to be, I'm a fitness trainer, so I know about sport, and it's not going to last forever. Something else going to happen. Yeah, so pickleball people come in and then they just leave. We live here. We are always in the park. So I wish we could work together, and again, not against each other, and find another solution to find another place for pickleball place and just not here because we all know it doesn't work here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Diana?
Hi, I'm Diana Merville, and I am one of the coalition leaders for the Conejo Creek Equestrian Park, and I've lived in the area for 26 years in the Waverly Heights neighborhood. And I love that you guys are talking so much about equestrian involvement because that is who we are in Conejo Valley. And my kids also went to Thousand Oaks High School and they all bled green. And that's a perfect lead in to what my topic is, which is teenage mental health. And I did, in an ode to Mr. Mooney, I did a word cloud. And what this is about is I thought, what do the garden club, the dog park, and the horse park all have in common? And I did a word cloud of those things that they have in common. And one of them is, the main one is, it's a sanctuary. It's a peaceful place. It's a serene place where people come to commune with nature and animals. It's about connection. It's about self-reflection. People come there and walk and mosey around and are thinking about their life problems or problem solving. They're doing self-analysis. They're doing introspection. It's a place of respite. It's a place of relief from daily life stress. It's a place that creates joy. It's a place of peace. It's spiritual. It's a place where autistic kids can hang out peacefully without a lot of stimulation from the outside world. It's a place to be pensive, and it's a place of belonging. And where this ties in with Thousand Oaks High School, teenagers, it's a really tough time to be a teenager. And so a lot of them feel like they don't belong. They don't belong in a clique. They might feel bullied. There's a lot of anxiety becoming an adolescent and a young adult. And what happens, a lot of these kids, they get angry, they run out of their house, they walk out, and they're angry at their parents, they're angry at life. And where do they end up? They end up at the horse park. It's like lost puppies. They end up walking to the horse park. And I cannot tell you how many of me and my friends who are over at the horse park have kids come up to us who don't feel like they belong, and they're angry and they're unhappy, and they see a horse and they get drawn to it. They want to come pet it and talk to it. And over the years, these kids have engaged with me, and I have shared my horses with them. I've taken them under my wing. I've taught them how to ride for no money. I'm not a professional trainer. I don't take money. I've taken these kids under my arm and I've taught them to ride. And I have found out that at least 2 of those kids went on to big careers. One of them is now a biochemist for a company in Northern California. She came to me years later and said, you know that I was suicidal? I'm sorry, I'm about to get tearful. She said, she said, I was suicidal when I came to you and met your horses. I had no idea, but she said, my horses and hers changed her life. And it's the same with another kid. Another kid had a lot of distress at home. I taught her to ride. She's now studying to be a horse vet in Colorado and has 2 horses of her own. And this is just 2 examples. But horses have a therapeutic value. They can hear your heartbeat 4 feet away. And so they really do have a lot of things where they can save lives. And I'm sorry, but pickleball can't save lives, but horses and interaction with horses can. And so in the future, my next topic next time is going to be, we're going to talk about ADA and how pickleball in this park would be out of compliance with the American Disabilities Act, which is a whole nother topic, but we'll talk about that. See you next time. Thank you for letting me talk.
We have Terry Schultz. She has a written statement card, and she's a homeowner in the Waverly neighborhood. And she backs up to the park, and she likes that it's a community horse park. And if you would like to talk, if you're online and you would like to talk, please raise your hand. Has anyone raised their hand that they would like to talk? No? Okay. I do not see that we have an executive closed session. All right, so I'm going to adjourn this meeting.